Please give a warm round of applause to Dr. Miriam and Sheldon Adelson. Interviewed by Shawn Evenhaim.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having as much fun as I do. Are you having fun so far? So I'd like to first start by thanking Shawn and his team for putting the best conference anyone can dream of. So Shawn and the whole IAC team, thank you so much. So today I have the privilege of sitting down for another conversation with my personal idols, and I know that there are also idols to many of you. I don't think they necessarily need an introduction, especially to this crowd. One of the highlights of my term as the chairman of the IAC was the privilege of working with both of you. Your vision, commitment, and generosity made the IAC dream a reality. Sheldon, in one of your recent speeches you said, and I quote, "What good is living if you can't do anything noble with your life? I don't think there is anything more noble in Jewish life than to be the mason that mixes the cement which connect one generation of Jews to another." End of quote. I don't know anyone that is more noble than the two of you in the Jewish world today. You are the best masons in our time and one of the most generous couple on this earth. You devote your time and resources to ensuring the future of the Jewish people and the State of Israel, strengthening the US-Israel relationship, advance medical research, and so many other things to make our world a better place. Dorit and I have had the honor and privilege of spending a lot of quality time with you on a personal level. And I always tell you that I wish that people will have the opportunity to get to know you better and to understand even just 10% of all the good and philanthropy that you do. For that reason, my goal today is to help people to get to know you better. So with that, let's begin. Sheldon.
Let's start with the end first. It'll go faster.
Yeah. You have built a family, many successful businesses, reinvented industries, and donated large amount of money. What are you most proud of? What are your plans for the next 35 years? And what do you want your legacy to be?
My plans for the next 35 years are to go to shul every day and pray that I'll live another 35 years.
I'm sure everyone will pray with you.
I hope so. Okay, I couldn't hear your question.
So you've built so many businesses, you have changed industries, and I want to know what's your plans really for the coming years and what you want your legacy to be.
Well, yes, it's true that I've created a lot of businesses, and some bigger than the others, some smaller. But my legacy would have nothing to do with my businesses. My legacy will have to do with two things. One, medical research, and how many findings we achieve. We have a very unique way of collaborating with various medical researchers, and we've been told that we have fundamentally changed the way medical research is conducted. And up until yesterday, we've had 26 findings. 26 findings. I'll tell you one that is of particular interest to me. Not that I have ovaries, but the problem with ovarian cancer is, number one, it's not ovarian cancer. And number two, when it gets to be ovarian cancer, it may be too late. So the biggest problem, men have it easier. You take a blood test, and you could tell whether or not the prostate is enlarged, and something should be done about it. In women with ovary cancer, you cannot tell what it is. You can only find it by accident, unless you're looking for it. So I could tell you that our medical research team has found a way to find a way. They've developed a method of identifying a marker. It's called a marker for ovarian cancer. It's not really ovarian cancer, it's fallopian tube cancer. It starts off at 6.5 years in the tubes, and then it migrates to the ovaries for 1.5 years, and then it ruptures. It's not a good sign when it ruptures. So this is just one of 26 findings that our medical team has discovered. These markers, the marker for ovarian cancer was discovered by two scientists, one at Johns Hopkins University and the other one at Penn. So they've worked together, and they've got I guess we have to prove it to the FDA, so we have some work left to do. But if we end up with findings like that, that will be my legacy. Equally as important is the Jewish people and the state of Israel. We were 10 million people at the time of Christ. Today we're only 14 million. What happened to all of us in between? Beside the pogroms and the expulsions, we should have been equal to Catholicism, to Islamists. We should have been 1.5 billion people. So it's only 14 million people. If you count the number of people by the same way the ultra-Orthodox counts them. If you count them the way that the state of Israel counts people for right of return, then there's 23 million people. That's not a lot. And the 6 million people that we have here, 6 million Jews, is equal, almost equal to the same number of Jews that we have in Israel.
Thank you. Miri, you and Sheldon made a commitment to the IAC from the moment you were exposed to the IAC in Los Angeles. As an Israeli American, what inspired you to commit to the IAC and invest so far $63 million in this organization? And what is so unique about Israeli Americans?
We would have invested more, but you didn't have change of $1 billion.
$63. Okay, we have to make it 76. What about 13 million more?
Wow. That's a headline.
Okay. So, as all of you know, we are mixed marriage. American, Israeli, man, woman. One day...
That's a separate line, Mary. You can't mix them together.
what made me be so involved. As many of you, I came to the States, to the Rockefeller University, to do medicine and research, etc. Came temporary for 2 or 3 years, as I promised my daughters. And somehow I met Sheldon, and I got stuck in America. My roots, I grew up in Israel, and from families that suffered from the Holocaust. My mother lost all her family, her parents, her sister and brother, and my father half. And when I was 16, we all many of the Israelis remember, if they are old enough like me, Eichmann trial. So all this pain of the past, understanding what the future may be, made me feel that the state of Israel has to be the strongest, so as we say, can protect any Jew. The Entebbe, one second, when I met Sheldon, he was telling me about the anti-Semitism that he suffered in Boston. I want to tell you that I have never in my life suffered one personal case of anti-Semitism to me. I grew up proud Jew in Israel, proud Israeli in Israel. And when I went to the States later on in my life, I've never been exposed to anti-Semitism. Of course, I see what's going here, all the anti-Israel thing, the anti-Semitism, they're mocked like anti-Israel, but it's anti-Semitism. So that made me feel that my mission in life is to protect my family, my people, the Jewish people and the state of Israel. And the moment I saw the IAC in Los Angeles, that our friends brought us there, and he is here, thank you, Dr. Pokroy. When he brought us, and I should say his wife too, when we brought us there, and Sheldon and me were sitting, and Sheldon looked at me and said, "Do you see what I see here? We have to spread it all over America, because this organization is going to strengthen the state of Israel." And immediately I said yes, and I joined him. To a good idea, I always join him. And here we are. We were sitting with you and Adam, and I think Shawn was there, and we were all working together to establish it. As I know, today you have 20 or 21 branches and satellite. We have also satellites to each branch, and it's above my expectation. It's beautiful, it's strong, and I think each year we are stronger. Next year, I cannot imagine. Probably the party would be till 5 o'clock in the morning and not till 2:30. So we are all here together, no matter, as I said, when I presented the Vice President Pence, no matter whether we are left or right, we have to be strong together. We are like one hand, but we should work separately. We should work together and be strong to protect our homeland. Thank you.
Kol hakavod. And as I said, it's been nothing but pleasure and honor to work with you, and thank you for making such a huge commitment for this coming year of an additional $13 million you announced now. So this is amazing. It just, we couldn't get to where we are without your vision and your generosity. So thank you again. Sheldon.
Shawn, 1 second. But I want partners. We want partners.
We always
I don't want to
want
be
partners.
alone, right? So all of you, join
So
us.
I'm sure when they all go back home and when they're going to get a call from the IAC to come to a gala to support the IAC, they've seen what the IAC is all about, and I'm sure they're all going to support, and I'm sure they'll hear from us soon. Sheldon, Your ability to see what others cannot even imagine is unparalleled. How and where did you learn everything that you know? What are the keys to your success? And what advice can you give all of us?
You have to ask again. Don't be so close to the mic because it's getting distorted. What's the question?
So, if you can share with us, what's the keys to your success?
The key. It's the wow. Words of wisdom. What's the key to my success? Well, all my life in business, I have, I didn't have the education that prepared me to be an entrepreneur. I have been faced with the question numerous times over my life whether entrepreneurs are born or made. And I finally concluded that they're both. You're born with entrepreneurship and you can be made. Your entrepreneurship can be made. So I've always looked at whether or not if I'm looking at a company and an industry, whether or not there are any opportunities there that have not yet been realized. So when I want to start a business, it just comes to me just by the seat of my pants. And so I want to do things that other people don't do. And, pardon me? Oh, yeah, my wife reminded me. The change that I bring to the table is that I change the status quo. And if I see an opportunity in a business or an industry where the status quo has not changed for a long time, there's my opportunity to change the status quo and create a new status quo. It's worked all the time, and out of 72 years of being in business, it's never once failed me. So there used to be a library where I was born and raised in Boston that had magazines and books and newspapers of different industries. It was called the Kirstein Library. So I went there and I would read about different industries and what they were doing in it and what was not being done. So that's how I got to that level.
You definitely did. Miriam, in your speech on Friday, you said that it's not about right-wing or left-wing, not about conservative or liberals, that everyone have a room, anyone that's pro-Israel has a room under the IAC tent. But as we both know, the perception of the IAC with some people is that the IAC is right-leaning, which we both know is incorrect. I'm sure that Speaker Pelosi wouldn't have been on the stage if this was a right-wing organization, and Haim Saban wouldn't be here if this was a right-wing organization. But I wanted to hear from you more about this perception of people having that perception about the organization.
First of all, I want you to know that I have to read your lips because the echo is not the best.
Yeah, we can hear here what you guys can hear.
Yeah. From the beginning, Sheldon said that this organization should not be political. Otherwise, we will lose half of the Israelis. And we repeat it and repeat it all the time. Please make it even, and everybody would hear and would hear what they say, and then come to their own conclusion, which we all respect. We respect each other's opinions. So we are not a political organization. We are an organization that is pro-Israel, pro the Jewish world. And yes, I said it again and again, that whatever you are, you're welcome, as long as you support the state of Israel. So here and there, people are trying to say it's right, or it's left, or why this left person came, or why this right person. So I want you to be together. As I said, one hand, and we are all together. Whatever we say, whatever we think, we are together to protect the state of Israel. We know how important it is. We see the anti-Semitism that is happening. And I talked with some Holocaust survivor who said this period reminds them before the Holocaust, when nobody fought it. So we have to be strong and united. United is the name of it, united and strong. So please stick to it, and don't think that we are any political organization.
I'm sure that after this conference, I don't think people will have this perception anymore, because I think this conference set the record straight once for all.
I think people would, by now, would have the conclusion that I haven't heard, this is the 5th year, I haven't heard two people engaging in a discussion about which political viewpoint is correct. I was going to say right or left, but which one is more correct than the other? So, you know, like in Israel, people go to each other's houses, they drink coffee, and they argue about politics. So over here, we don't do this. We go to a bar, we have a drink, and then we can argue about politics. But I think that the important thing is that this organization is not favoring one side or the other. And we welcome, I'm sure that the left can't understand why the right takes a position and vice versa. But even though I like discussing politics, I'd rather there be no political positioning in the IAC.
Great. We all agree with that. So Sheldon, I don't know anyone that is as outspoken about what they believe in as you are. And sometimes it seems that you are not worried about what people will say about you and how what you say will impact how you're perceived by others. In my opinion, by the way, this is something that should be admired. How did this impact your life and your business, and does it bother you that some people have the wrong perception about you?
No, it doesn't. Well, sometimes it does become bothersome, but by and large, if I'm addressing a particular subject and I can get other people to go along with me, all good and well. If I can't, so it doesn't. I think that the fact that we don't argue about left and right across the aisle, then it's okay.
Thank you. Miri, you are someone who has always believed in doing good deed quietly. A few weeks ago, you received the Presidential Medal of Freedom for your work and research in fighting addiction and supporting the American Jewish community and the State of Israel. Why are you so committed to Israel, the Jewish people, the US-Israel relationship, and making the world a better place?
Again, I have to read your lips. Next time you sit in the middle, next year. So you asked me about the Medal of Freedom.
Yeah, and why are you so committed to the state of Israel, the Jewish people, and to make the world a better place?
I was telling you before it, probably it's in my genes and the environment that I grew. Like all human beings is what the parents gave them and how they grew. So my environment is Eichmann trial, the Holocaust, all this memory. We have to be able to protect ourselves. And my genes are also because my mother, she was 18, finished high school, and decided to leave Poland because she felt the anti-Semitism. And she came from a very religious family, from Hasidut Alexander. And the rabbis there told them, God is everywhere. God is in Zion and God is in Poland. You don't need to leave. And by the way, most of the community stayed there. But my mother, 18 years old, saw it's written on the wall and said to her mother, no, mommy, I learned about the Inquisition, I learned about the pogroms, and I'm leaving. And she left. The same thing with my father. He finished high school. In order to go to college, he had to stand on the side, on the wall. He's not supposed to sit on a chair as a regular student. What do you think he did? Left to Israel. By the way, my father was Mapam. He came with a Shomer HaTzair, and my mother was Cherut. So that's the way I grew. I saw my parents, good people, maybe. I felt they are giving, and I continued to give. My profession as a physician is, at that time in Israel, the physician didn't make even good salary, but it feels good to do good for me. Maybe it's very selfish. And about the medal, I felt when I was getting the medal of freedom, I felt that I'm with Sheldon, first of all, that is my family, that I'm carrying with me all the background that I told you, the suffering of the Jewish people, but yet the future, the Israeli, American, the Jews all over the world. I felt very proud that I am carrying it for them. It was an amazing feeling. Thank you.
So the world, the Jewish people, the state of Israel were blessed by the two of you. And I want to thank you again for everything that you do, not just for the IAC, for the world, for the state of Israel, and for the Jewish people. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Miriam Adelson and Sheldon Adelson.